Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new playthrough. Today we are not going to be doing another Dragon Quest game yet, although that will come, I promise. I'm just not feeling it yet. We are going to be playing Pokémon Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of the Sky. One of my absolute all-time favourites. It's still a classic to me. Came out in 2009, so it's been out for 15 years now, and I still think it's brilliant at the age of 24. What this playthrough will essentially be is a test of, will a grown man still cry at the ending? And I know the answer already, but I think without any further discussion, let's get straight into it. Although I should say, before we start, I am using DeSmuME again. Fully aware of the fact I did upload a video only a couple of months ago saying switching to Melon DS, DeSmuME sucks. But DeSmuME has a magnification filter setting, which means it improves the 2D models, which Melon DS doesn't. So that's why I'm using that one. So I think without any further ado other than that, let's get straight into it. So we start, as with tradition will dictate, with a personality test. So there's a little intro. Now, I only ever play this game with the same Pokemon. I refuse to play as anything else. Right, so I've got to answer these questions in a particular way. Everyone around you is laughing hard at something you think is pretty boring. What do you do? So I've got to play this as if I'm pretending to be timid. I think, in reality I would say nothing really, but I think being timid I would probably laugh along. Run into a new person that I haven't talked to very much before. In reality, I would make an excuse to get away. I think timid would be make small talk. Fashionably late. No for timid and no for myself. Dug in your backyard, you could find buried treasure. Is there a timid way to answer this question? I mean, in reality, I would say no because that's stupid, but I don't think there's a timid answer. I'm going to say yes. Do you see something through to the end once you've decided to do it? Reality, yes. Timid, yes. Have you ever blurted something out without thinking about the consequences first? Reality, yes. Timid, I think timid I've got to say no. See a cake that is past its expiration date only by 1 day, what do you do? Reality, that is absolutely fine. I think timid, get someone to try it first, I think. Just stuffed yourself with a good meal when a great dessert arrives, what do you do? I think eat it in reality. Is there a proper timid answer to this question? I'm not sure. I think turn it down would be the timid. Male or female. And now my aura will be analysed. So now it's mouse and keyboard. That's the one kind of disassociation from using mouse and keyboard instead of doing it properly with an actual fingerprint on the DS screen. But this is still better. My aura has been identified. From all my playthroughs of this game, I'm pretty sure this is random completely. I get a different colour every time. It's a brilliant green. Wonderful. And the only thing that affects within the game is the colour of the bow you get. Right, let's find the answer. Let's see if we have to reset or not. Reroll. Oh, it's blue this time. My aura has changed in the past minute. I am shocked. Right, 100% this is timid. I couldn't possibly have been any more timid during that. There we go. I'm quite gentle apparently. Sometimes a little bit shy. Yes. Give it to me. The Pokemon I always am and refuse to be anything else in this game is Cyndaquil. I don't know how many people also choose that one. I mean, I think Charmander's a pretty popular choice as well. I always have the same partner as well, and it's always Totodile. Always. But I think his name, over the many playthroughs I've done of this game, I think I changed his name quite a lot. But I think the name that stuck was Sam. And I don't think there's any real reason behind that. He has just always been Sam. I mean, looking at him, he's never Totodile, he is just Sam. So there we go, all ready to go. Off to the world of Pokemon, once again. I must have had 30, 40 playthroughs of this over the 15 years it's been out. There we go. Chapter 1, A Storm at Sea. So at this point in the game, obviously, we've got no idea who is talking. But he's saying, don't let go. Come on, hang on. Can't hold on in the middle of the storm. So yeah, obviously no idea what's happened at this. Obviously we know if we've played it before, but at this point in the game this is a complete mystery as to what's happened in this intro. And it's not revealed until... it must be about chapter 13 or so out of 20. 20 chapters in the main story. So there's our intro. There's a big storm. Someone's trying to hold on, but it looks like it's failed. And now... we wake up on a rather beautiful beach. We're drifting off. Going to pass out for a little while longer. And here we go, we see our first glimpse of Wigglytuff's guild, and Sam is approaching. So this is our first sight of the partner Pokemon. There we go. It looks like straight away, I don't know to what extent, if at all, the partner Pokemon's personality changes depending on what Pokemon he is, or what gender. Because obviously I only ever play as this pair, so I never see the others. But he's quite a timid character, straight away. He's too nervous to go in. And there's our first sight of the relic fragment. Oh, no, at that point, that's a I think that's a semi-spoiler. I'm going to try not to spoil anything as we go. I assume most people have played this before, but yeah, it's not revealed. At the moment, that's just a personal treasure of his. I've let slip already that is the relic fragment. And now here is Coughing and Zubat for the first time. Looks like they're after his treasure. So it's pretty much revealed straight away that these guys are bad guys. There's the Krabby. Do we get the music? We do. There's so many good soundtracks in this game, and I think it starts with this one. It's just that very much serene, I mean the picture says it all really, that kind of serene beach beauty. It's one annoying thing about having the screens left and right as well. It doesn't quite transpire with the top and bottom anymore. So this as well, I'll give another kind of semi-spoiler at this point. I think there is only ever 2 times you see the Krabby blowing bubbles. One is at the start of the game now, and one is at the very end. That's where Sam always ends up, he feels sorry for himself. And he's seen something. He's seen me! And there we go, the first meeting. So yeah, very similar to the first game when the partner Pokemon finds you passed out. Except that's in Tiny Woods in the first game, and it's on the beach, yeah. So there's the introduction. And I've told him I'm a human. Look at me, I'm clearly a human. So yeah, exactly the same as the first game. We see the reflection, although I think that's more implied than anything. We see we've turned into a Pokemon, and we don't remember anything. No messing around. We do remember our name though, so I think that's... I don't think it's ever really... I mean, I know this is a children's game. I don't think it's ever really explicitly explained exactly what we remember and what we don't. Obviously, we remember how to speak, remember how to communicate, and we've retained our personality, I think, but no memories. So there's the intro. A lot of Pokemon have started being aggressive lately. Things have gotten wild for some reason. And there we go. There is the beginning of the adventure right there. They wanted to mess with us. And there we go. They've nabbed it. The intro of... I don't know if I can really call them bad guys. They're just kind of an annoyance. Although I think it is pretty much explicitly revealed later on that they are genuine crooks. They're just not very good crooks. What shall I do? Well, I think I'm going to help you. Yes! I might test out some blatantly wrong dialogue choices at some point as well. I don't know why Japanese games do this. They offer you a dialogue choice that will just loop round if you select it because that's the wrong choice. But here we go, first dungeon. Let's sort out these settings. So, I mean, I love this gameplay. I think the only criticism this game got was that it's repetitive gameplay, but to me it's just as repetitive as the main Pokemon games, to be honest. I don't think I can adjust team yet, can I? Tactics? Yeah, always let's go together. If I select anything else, my brain will just not understand. And I want to set speed to fast rather than regular. Regular is painfully slow in this game. Right, we're in. Beautiful, I'm smashing this already. I'm going to change that top screen as well. I know the controls, I've played this too long. Top screen, I want team start. Yes, I do. Lovely. Right, we're away. It's the more recent Pokémon Mystery Dungeon games like DX or Super that I just can't work out how to play properly. I make so many mistakes and just I don't know what the part of the Pokemon is going to do because like in here I know exactly where he's going to move when I make my move, but in the recent ones I have no idea. There we go. I don't know what my playstyle is going to be, whether I'm relatively cowardly, but I think in most instances I'm going to turn and fight. Most. Yeah, definitely in this one. There then. There we go, nice and simple. One thing is playing as Cyndaquil I noticed between the two first games, like Red Rescue Team and this. Cyndaquil has a different skin tone in both games. He's way more yellow in the first one and more kind of beigey here. No idea why. Here we go, Beach Cave Pit. And there are the crooks. So in this game the very first dungeon has a boss fight. I think in the first one, yeah, Tiny Woods, no boss fight. Thunderwave Cave is second dungeon, no boss fight. You don't get one until Mount Steel. But in this one, we're straight in. So I think in this case, were the partner Pokemon on their own, they would no chance they would have followed Coughing and Zubat into the cave, and there's no chance they'd be fighting now. Dear. Taking more damage than anticipated. There we go, step back, and then we're straight in. Lovely. There we go. I know this game too well now. It's when I'm playing the recent ones and my brain just breaks, I don't understand. But there we go. The first dungeon is complete. And the relic fragment is returned. So there we go, Coughing statement there, that your victory was a fluke. And that's not explained until a little bit later, and I'm not going to bother explaining it now either. It's because I was there to help. So there we go, there's the beginning of the relationship between the main character and the partner. He's got confidence because of you, and he explains that straight away. I only helped because I happened to be there. Is that the right thing to do? So yeah, it's the same as in a lot of Japanese role-playing games. The main character never speaks. It's always in, I can't remember words for those. Brackets. They never speak out loud until in this game at the very end. Okay, it is called the Relic Fragment. That wasn't a spoiler. There we go. And that beautiful music comes again. So he's a treasure hunter. A sense of adventure excites him. And there's the first sight of the pattern. A mysterious pattern that's not explained for another 17 or so chapters yet. So he tried joining, but he chickened out. And that's his story. So what about me? What am I going to do? Lost my memory. I have no idea. See, in person, I love the idea of like a big adventure like this, just being put somewhere random and just start a massive adventure. Like that is like a life goal, essentially. What should I do? Should I join this Pokemon? I don't know what this option is. I'm sure I've pressed it before. You know, I'm curious now. Am I what? Oh, trying to talk me into it. Okay. During that fight. Can I do anything as long as you're helping me? Ah. Oh. Yes, of course I will form a team. Let's do it. Let us discover what is going on by hanging out with this Pokemon. I'm in. Let's rumble. Can make a great combination. Let's do this. Wigglytuff's Guild. So this is definitely the first appearance of Wigglytuff's Guild in this game. I mean, Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon is an interesting one because the story isn't as good as it is in this. I mean, it is up until the point where you beat Yveltal in that game and it just turns into the same Gates to Infinity story, but lovely little intro thing. But yeah, with Super there's a lot of references to this game and the development of the characters in it. There we go, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky. The follow-up, the 2009 follow-up to the 2007 classics. And all of the changes made in this one compared to the previous two just made it even better. Chapter 2, the new guild recruits. So, we're off to the guild. This top and bottom thing is annoying. I mean, it's not going to look at all good if I do top and bottom screen, so we'll stick with this, left and right. I think this is the best layout we can do. So, we have to register here. So, this great, like, it's just a classic part of the guild, but like from a physical perspective, the grate doesn't look anywhere near like narrow enough. It looks like anyone with small feet is going to fall straight through that. We may enter. So this, I think, is Loudred speaking, given that he's shouting. Me just being clueless. Let's go up to it. There's the grate. Yeah, it looks way too wide, like the gaps in between. But it's a 2009 DS game, the graphics can't be that good. Get on the grade. Fine. And there's Diglett, not recognising my feet. So we get to see the layout now. So, would this system work in person? Identifying footprints. I mean, like, assuming everyone doesn't wear shoes. Would you be able to identify someone by their footprint? I mean, Pokemon, obviously, yes, but... Okay, maybe we'll leave it at that. It works for Pokemon, doesn't work for humans. Sorry to make you wait. Good enough, we may enter. Beautiful. So in we go. So Sam's finally got the confidence to go in. Couldn't do it on his own. He's had to wait for me. There's the entry hatch, and here we go. Wigglytuff's Guild. And there is Chatot we see for the first time. I mean, the characters up there as well. We've got Bidoof and Sunflora that we don't know are guild members yet. Right-hand Pokemon. Now leave the premises. No, we are here to form a rescue team. So I love this speech. I don't think you ever really... Obviously it's a game, so you never really understand just how rigorous this is. But doing rescues all day must be fairly rigorous if we're going to analyse this from a human perspective again. Maybe I need to stop doing that. Alright, let's follow Chatot. It's another thing that's kind of explored. Actually, with this, as a kid, this confused the hell out of me how this is the bottom floor. Because you go in at the top and then you're on a cliffside. Like, I would always get to that ladder and just not know if I was going up or down to get where I wanted to go. I don't know why, because it's quite straightforward. But yeah, here's something that was kind of explored in Super as well that just made it even more confusing. I think as a kid I assumed Chatot was a girl and Wigglytuff was a... I can't remember. But in this game they're both guys. I'm pretty sure. But I think in Super they confuse it again by saying... I think they openly discussed that the gender is ambiguous. Right, it's a cool rescue name. This always changes, I never stay consistent with this. I think I'm going to name it after the festival which I just spent the last weekend raving to and still listening to all the sets as I do every single year. It's Team Ultra, after Ultra Music Festival Miami. I think last time I played through this, I named it after Hardwell's new album, Team Rebels. Rebels Never Die. Yeah, it's always after music I call my team. Team Ultra, there we go. Team Miami would have been better, should have done that. Oh well. We'll stick with this. And there we go, we've started a team. We've got our first kit. What do we get? Explorer badge, wonder map, a treasure bag. Beautiful. So it's only the first dungeon where you can only have one item. From now on, I think we start with 20. It's the item cap. That goes up when you increase rank, I believe. Got a defense scarf and a sky blue bow. That, I think, is the only item you can never lose. So I think that's the only item that stays when you get KO'd in the dungeon. And it's sky blue because that was the colour of my aura, which was suspiciously green when I did the personality test the first time. It's changed. Must have entirely shifted personality between those two tests within that 2-minute gap. There we go. We have begun as a rescue team. Here is our bed. Evolution's a tricky one in this game, but just had the vibe. If you did evolve while you were in this guild, would the bed still be the right size? But yeah, I think it's assumed at this point in the game that no one knows anything about evolution at all. So we get the sleepy time music for the first time as well, which is another beautiful soundtrack. Sam's excited. I am too. Yeah, I'm not going to be role-playing at all in this. Not my thing. But first things first, who am I? How did I turn into a Pokemon? How did he end up unconscious on that beach? Those are the questions, and they're not going to be answered for a long time yet, but that is the beginning of the journey. So yeah, that's day 1 complete. Quick tip. There we go. So yeah, just to discuss this playthrough as well, my aim at the moment is to complete the main story and the kind of post-game story as well. I think my target is to evolve. Whether we do the end-game dungeons, like the 0R ones, the big proper game and 99 floor ones, I don't know yet. I'm going to think about it. I've never done them before, ever. I've done a few of the 99 floor ones in the first game, stuff like Cryptic Cave and Silver Trench, but not in this game. And I don't think I've ever completed, in either game, one of the dungeons where you have to start from level 1. Because those were... I think like in the first game I tried it with Mewtwo. I think I tried the Celebi dungeon. And I just got nowhere near. I got to like floor 8 and just got beat. Yeah, I think that's a life goal really. Complete those dungeons before I die. Simple goal to have. There we go, Loudred's in and he's waking us up. Oh yeah, we signed up as apprentices. Totally overslept. If only they had invented alarm clocks in this Pokemon world. It's the first of the Loudred, annoyingly loud voice running joke. Is this the one where the Guildmaster's asleep? I can't remember. That might be later. Yeah, it is. Guildmaster Wigglytuff is completely asleep. Thank you, sir. We all value your words of wisdom. And this, I think, is the only time where we get the chance in full. So don't shirk work. Run away and play it. Smiles go for miles. I think I only remember the third one because that one is repeated at the beginning of every morning brief. Alright, and now we wander around cluelessly, and there we go. So, about to get our first mission. We start off with this assignment. So, start of the story. Bad Pokemon are cropping up in greater numbers because the flow of time is getting messed up. How interesting. Something has gone wrong with time. caused an outbreak of bad Pokemon. And that's caused an increase in the number of jobs. There's been a mass outbreak of mystery dungeons. So that beach cave was a mystery dungeon. This is just explaining the gameplay now. So you lose half of your money and half your items or more. Okay, I thought it was all the items. Maybe that's the first game I'm getting confused with, but yeah. I know the sky blue bow you can never lose. I think that's the only item. I think even like the music box after the 7 dungeons where it's like Mew and Groudon and that. I think you can lose that, and that takes you have to go to the bottom of all 7 dungeons again. I think. Hello, my name is Spoink, and Outlaw has run off with my most prized possession. It's said to be on a rocky bluff. And that's our quest. We're only going to fetch an item that someone dropped. And there's Scary Chattel. Lose half your money, or you could lose half your items or more. Not quite sure what that means technically. Guessing they're just being pedantically accurate. But there we go, here's our first quest. We're starting at the Drenched Bluff. I mean, some of my favourite songs in the world. I mean, my favourite albums ever is Tiesto's A Town Called Paradise. I've probably only heard each song in that album 25, 30 times, because I only listen to it on special occasions. Even though it's my favourite ever. This song, I think I must have heard 200, 250 times. And it's just the game's soundtrack. That's how classic it is to me. I think that's going to be the same. There we go, first level up. That's going to be the same with a lot of the soundtracks in this game. Some of the later ones in particular. I think if you played this game before, you know how good the kind of end game final dungeon songs are. But we'll get to them. Okay, water gun works here. You need to be careful with water gun because I think these Shellos have Storm Drain, which stops all water moves working. Red Gummy. Oh yeah, here's a system that the later Mystery Dungeon games never used. They gave up the Gummy system and the IQ system. So, I mean, at the moment I'm going to give all of, except the red ones, gummies to Sam. Because a lot of the IQ moves are related to the intelligence of the partner. I mean, some advantages are given when the main character eats gummies, but most of it... And there's a blue one there. But most of it goes to your partner and them doing intelligent things. I will give him that. Yeah, there's a few that are like permanent health raises and stuff like that. Oh, another level up. In the very first game, like, I've not got that far deep into the game in years, but I think the very first game you get an IQ move that's very late game that allows you to smash through walls. I think I only ever had it in like my first playthrough when I played it for like yonks after the main story. That's the annoying thing about the first one in particular. As soon as the story ends, that's just kind of the end of the game. There's a lot of post-game dungeons, but you don't have a lot of motivation to play after that because it's kind of... There's no story or character development after that, really. To a certain extent, that's true in this game as well. But you've got the post-game story as well. Right. I've not done this very well. I'll be overwhelmed here. What might... No, I'll just bring Sam out. So in a previous game, what you do, if you walk into him, you'll push him. But in the first 2 games, you walk into him, you switch places with him. Right, there's Storm Drain. So I can't use water gun on this floor. That's right, they're barely doing any damage, so we're not in any trouble, really. There we go. Yeah, I think the first time I played, it was either Gates of Infinity or Super, but the pushing instead of switching places just baffled me. Like, so many times I kept trying to manoeuvre to positions that would have been helpful and just kept screwing it up and getting killed. There we go, no real trouble yet. I'm not sure I've ever been defeated in. But that's probably like, I've probably been beaten in this dungeon. I've played this game enough times to have made enough errors to lose in one of the early game dungeons. out of that one nice and easily. There's the max elixir. So this is an item that exists in the main Pokemon games, but it's just, I find personally, just never used. Because, I mean, you get to a Poké Center before you need a max elixir pretty much every time. But when there's only 2 characters and you're constantly using moves to get through every floor, max elixirs are used a lot. I don't think there's, in this game, or the first one, but there's the first fake item. It's kind of a running joke in this game that isn't in the first one. I think Oren Berries, the knee, does damage instead of heals. Some of them are really obvious. There's like Revisor Seed, which doesn't do anything other than gives you a bit of dialogue that says you die of laughter once you realise the spelling mistake. Just more frustrating at that point once you get KO'd through a Revisor. I can't remember the first rip I was on that. The late's learned Rager. I don't think that's particularly helpful. I think it's not an attacking move. I don't remember what it does actually. Can't remember the controls either. Rage. It's probably useful in a long-term boss fight, but I'm going to turn it off for now. Bad move actually. That. It's pretty much all the tactics in this is positioning, essentially. You want to be in a position where you and your partner can attack and only one enemy can attack. So you want to filter them down a corridor, but be in a place to attack yourself. So there we go, there's the partner IQ. I do sort of want to get to the late game IQ stage. I mean, if we're at the end of the story and I've decided I'm not going to go any further, I will just cheat and do some IQ stuff, just to see what they unlock at the very end of it. There we go, there's Drenched Bluff complete, and there is the pearl. Mission success. Ordered with a protein, calcium, iron, £2,000. Wow, we're rich already. I mean, the iron, the protein, and the calcium probably amount to more than £2,000 anyway. But here we go. There's the guild's policy. Let's chat up taking the money, and we only get 200. So the guild earns 90% of everything we earn, which I think I don't really know what, like, I can't really relate working in a guild to real life, but the guild taking 90% of all earnings seems a bit insane. Because you've got to pay for what? Maintenance, you've got to pay for food, but still 90%. I suppose if you're working at the guild anyway, you're pretty much, that's your lifestyle, you're living there, and that's everything. So there's not really much to buy with. Again, I'm assessing this from a practical point of view, which I shouldn't be. It's a kid's game. There we go, it's day 2 complete. Pretty hectic. But yeah, we've completed our first jobs. So there we go, he's happy about the prize. It feels good. Still beautiful music. After chapter 3 already, the scream. Honestly, every time, I mean, if you played this game before, you know what the scream is. Every time it happens, I just get goosebumps. Genuinely. It's like, and I think the first time it happens, it's kind of like an unexpectedly epic part of what is, you know, otherwise at this point, seemingly a kid's game. Here we wander around again until we're called over. So we've got a board on the other side now. Take a closer look. Show a variety of Pokemon that all look pretty cool. These Pokemon are criminals! So Sam's nervous again. That kind of comes in with the main story as well. The flow of time being messed up has created criminals and thieves. Not good. So I'll give you a tour of the facilities. And here we go. We're meeting Bidoof for the first time. So this, as I forgot to say, we're going to be doing all the special episodes in this playthrough. This is a big moment for Bidoof. I'm going to find out why a little bit later on in the game. And there he is. He's overjoyed. Glad to have members junior to me. I'm almost overcome right now. Because that was his wish. So we learned that Bidoof is the most recent rookie before us. So he's kind of treated... He's not treated brilliantly around the guild, as most of the dialogue suggests. All of the other characters don't really respect him. There we go, here's the tour. Don't really know what Krogunk does. And I'll be honest, I'd never speak to Krogunk in any of my playthroughs. Yeah, we'll find out what he does later on. I'll try and include him in this playthrough. There's the Guildmaster's chamber. And now we get to go outside for the first time. And there's another classic theme right there. Again, I've probably heard this song. I've probably heard this one more than the Drenched Bluff one. I mean, I definitely have. I've probably heard this song 100 times more frequently than I have some of my favourite songs ever. It's just a game track. Alright, we arrive in Treasure Town. And there is the first Duskull Bank. There's a reference to this in Super Mystery Dungeon as well, because I think you meet Persian, who's the owner of the bank in the first game. And I think he/she, I don't really know, talks about how they've been made unemployed or something. So it's a very good throwback. So Electrovire, replacing Gulpin from the first game, is one to link moves, but he's not there yet. And then there's Kecleon. They always keep their jobs. I think in every game, it's always Kecleon that owns the market. And Kangaskhan again, keeping their job. They own the storage. And he just had a thought. Obviously one of the Kecleons, they're always brothers. There's always one shiny, the purple one, and one green one. I can't remember ever seeing a shiny in this game other than the purple Kecleon. I don't know if there are shinies in the game, actually. I really have no idea. I'm going to have to Google that afterwards. Alright, let's speak to some people. Let's speak to Corfish. Hey, 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 the classic Corfish chant. We are the new rookies. Come ask me. I suspect you're going to say the same thing every time, but I will. And there's Sunflora. Oh my gosh. And I'm going to walk into here the first time. Or can we not? Oh, it has collapsed. Okay. Right, so there's no Marowak Dojo yet, but again, Marowak Dojo I never use in any playthrough. I don't think it's very good or useful at all. In the first game, it's oh, I can't remember his name. I can picture him. The guy who owns the dojo in the first game, he is useful, and he'll use that a lot. There's the running joke of the Wormpool and the Team Tasty. He thinks he's going to get eaten. Classic Pokemon banner. It's just too good sometimes. Right, and then you've got Zart, who does the prizals when you get a box. Although most of the time, again, I don't use that, I just sell the boxes. There's Vigoroth. Don't see much of him unless you just go and speak to him normally. Got Team Ebony. Shuppet and Murkrow. I think this is just Murkrow's thing, just constantly talks about shiny stuff. Let's just have a wander out here as well. This is Sharpedo Bluff, but it's not really used until after the main... Oh no, it is. I'll take that back. But yeah, no music here, just a very serene little area. Let's speak to Kangaskhan, because I think a lot of the stuff you get from jobs in this game goes straight to storage. Apparently not. Take that back immediately. And then here's Kecleon, which... I mean, I'm going to be checking Kecleon's shop every single time I come through, because you don't unlock... Oh, here we go. Because you don't unlock the big moves in this game until really late levels unless you get lucky with the Kecleon shop and you get stuff like Flamethrower and Water Pulse. But here we go, introduction to Marill and Azure. May I buy an apple? This does make me sort of laugh every single time, because they buy one apple. It's delightful children of brothers. So I think I always assumed in my first playthrough that Azure was a girl, Marill was a boy, but they're both brothers. And they come running back in. They aim to buy one apple, but there was an extra apple there. They didn't notice that there was 2 apples. It does make me laugh. But it's a gift from Kecleon. And here we go. I've picked up the apple. Give it back to Azure, but then suddenly... yeah, goosebumps. Help. There we go, I'm looking around. I've heard someone shout for help. I don't know who it is. I've had a dizzy spell. The brothers are okay though. Everyone seems fine, even though I've heard someone shout for help. No one else has heard it, evidently. Nothing out of the ordinary. Probably just imagined it. But no, I'm positive that I didn't. There's no mistaking it, that was Azure's scream. Let's go already. Yeah. Let's go, nothing else to do around here. And now, there's Azure and Marill talking to a Drowsy. Please, it's nothing. What's he done? Then Mr. Drowsy came along. Conveniently, he says he may have found it. Even offered to help us look for it. What a nice Pokemon. Have to have a cold heart to ignore kids in need. There he goes. Oop! He's bumped into us. We've touched Drowsy. It's happening again. Oh dear. If you keep being difficult, it will mean big trouble for you. Drowsy speaking to Azure, and Azure screams for help. This is another classic theme to me now. This is a sort of dark mystery theme, I think. So I'm having a heart-to-heart with Sam now. I'm telling him everything. Had a dizzy spell, I saw Azure being threatened. Let's do the rescue. But Sam doesn't believe me. The 3 of them go off, they look like having a good time. Probably just tired. He doesn't trust me yet. He doesn't believe me. Just a bad daydream? Drowsy didn't seem like a bad Pokemon. Let's get ready to explore. Right, I might... I mean, in my previous playthrough, I got beat on the next dungeon. I forgot what it's called. Mount Bristle. So, I feel like I do need supplies, but I can't really afford much of any use yet. I can't afford a Reviver Seed, which is really the only item you ever need. So I think we're all set. How about Bidoof does the choosing? Don't pick one that looks scary. And he's doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Stand clear, updating listings, so. Good bit of fun this is. So we're exploring the practical side again now. The panel's flipped over. And Dugtrio swaps out the old jobs with new ones. I think this is a good system from a practical perspective. Obviously nowadays if we're any kind of stuff related to this it'd just be computers and it'd update like that, but if we were in a business like this of catching bad guys and we were assuming that there's no internet or computers or anything, I think this is quite a good system, to be honest. A flipped panel where one Pokemon updates all the jobs. I rate this. From a practical perspective, I rate it. Update complete. And there's the new list of bad guys. What are we going to see? Sam's seen something. Why are you shivering? Take a look at this. On the left. It's Drowsy! I was right, he's a bad guy. Azure will be in serious trouble. We're bolting out of here. Bidoof doesn't know what's going on. But we know we need to do a rescue now. There's Meryl. Where's Azure? And up all alone. Mr. Drowsy went somewhere with Azure. Oh dear. Let's run. And here we are at Mount Bristle. Again, this theme just sounds like childhood to me. And we get it in proper HD quality now. See, I'm sure like the soundtrack sounded brilliant to me back then. I've probably got the same memories as a lot of people. We were just listening to them through, you know, fairly terrible DS sound settings. Obviously, they're still MIDI soundtracks, so they don't sound orchestral at all. And there's no official orchestral soundtracks to any of the soundtracks in this game. I've looked for them a lot. Stuff like the final dungeon and the penultimate dungeon obviously have gorgeous themes. And I've looked a lot through YouTube to find good orchestral versions of them. And there's a lot of them. None of them are perfect in my opinion. Keep an eye on my health already. So if I ever get around to a point in my life where I make music, and I'm going to one day, definitely. Right, yeah, that's... I played DX a while ago, so now... In my head, Sam would have moved down after that, but obviously it switched. It's all okay. But yeah, soundtracks. If I ever make music, I think one of the first things I will do is try and make a dance music soundtrack that's in the same theme as a Pokémon Mystery Dungeon song. Either Pokémon Mystery Dungeon, or I'll try and make a song out of the Deoxys theme from Pokémon Fire Red or Pokémon Emerald. Because that is a banger. Stun Seed. Beautiful. That's one of the items I actually find useful in this game, is Stun Seed. Just permanently, unless you attack it, stops an enemy from moving. Works on bosses for a couple of turns, I think, and then it wears off quite quickly. I think. I might be wrong saying that, actually. Right, I'm not in an ideal position here because I can't attack, where Sam can. Let's put the water gun back on. I don't think Smokescreen goes through corners. Oh, it does. Okay. Yeah, Smokescreen, one of the best moves in the game, I think, in this game. I think, yeah, the first two games it does that. It stops enemies from being able to attack. It all does 0 damage. In, I think, after Super or Gates of Infinity, I can't really remember, it gets nerfed completely and it just lowers accuracy. Right, let's chuck some gummies at Sam. I'm only going to be eating the red ones for myself, because although there are good upgrades for the main character, a lot of them are aimed towards AI. Right, I'm giving all of the boosts to me as well. Because as the main character, you're the one that's going to be taking the majority of the damage. Let's give up bows as well, I forgot to do that. I've got the Sky Blue bow, Sam's got the Defense bow. Yeah, I think the defense bow can and definitely will be lost at some point when I eventually get beat. But the Sky Blue bow always stays on your person. I don't actually know how good it is. That's an item I've never really stopped to compare. It just always stays with me because it never gets lost. Right, I'm going to turn and fight here. Yep, position that nicely so we got both of us attacking. Got him before he struck back. That quick attack's causing me a lot of trouble at the moment because I've not got any moves that I can hit back with over 2 tiles yet. Well, I think you unlock quick attack as Cyndaquil quite quickly. String shot. Sam's not going to be out of the move. So yeah, of the moves in this game, there's a few I want to get. Flamethrower is just 100%. I occasionally put myself with 2 flamethrowers because it's just such a good move. It attacks up to 8 tiles, I think. I think the other one is Lava Plume because that attacks in a circle around you, which again is essential for stuff like monster houses. Other than that, I think I generally end up with Fire Blast because that's one of the most damaging fire moves there is. I don't know what my 4th move is. Like, I've not got a set moveset that I always have. There's always Flamethrower and always Lava Plume, but other than that, I can't decide what's doing the other 2. I think there's a Vacuum Cut that attacks 3 tiles in front. Yeah, in this game it's almost always essential to have a whole room move that gets you out of monster houses. And I think Sam can learn Surf, but I think that hits the main character as well. Right, that's the 9th floor. We are up to the boss fight now. I don't think there's much I can really do. I know from my last playthrough you can't put Drowsy to sleep because he's got insomnia. But I think you can stun him. Not that there's much use in doing so because he just unfreezes. I think we're going to have to go with this. I mean, my last playthrough I did lose to him, but hopefully this time we pull it off. Mount Bristle Peak. And there's a Zero and Drowsy. Uh-oh, it's a dead end. Sorry, kiddo. Lost item's not here. No, he's not coming. It was all a trick. Now a Zero's going to start to panic. So what was Drowsy's motivation? Rumour there's a trove for the thief treasure. This is the annoying part for me. This sentence never gets explored again. And once you can come back to the top of Mount Bristle, obviously, but you can't ever explore this. Because what I really want to do is like recruit a small Pokemon to see if this is true or not. But you can't. This is just never touched upon again, as far as I know. So yeah, that's kind of... There could well be a trove of millions behind there, and we just never go back to visit. And don't forget to bring back the treasure. And now Drowsy's getting aggressive. I mean, big trouble for you. And this is what we saw in the vision. It was a vision of the future. And now Zero's going to scream for help. But there we are. We've come for the rescue. Here we go, we've caught him. We are Team Ultra. And you can see there straight away. Drowsy's panicking at this point, but Sam is starting to shake. And Drowsy's realised. He's figured it out. We're total rookies. He's a wanted Pokemon with a bounty. Yes, we can. Been chased by all sorts of exploration teams in my day, which is weird given that he's only just been put on the board. But there we go. Been chased by all sorts of teams as well, but he's one of the earliest bosses in the game, so he's not particularly strong. Maybe he's better at evading capture than he is at fighting. Right, let's have Sam just spam Water Gun. Drowsy's got forewarned, so a lot of our moves are going to miss. I'm not entirely convinced it's worth using Smoke Screen at all, but I'm going to anyway. He's landed. Okay. Yeah, it wears off pretty quickly. Right, Sam's out. I think I'm going to keep attacking rather than Smoke Screen. There's 4-1. Again. I'm disabled now. It's lucky he's not doing any big moves. There we go, we got him. Nice and easy. Don't know why I got beat by him in my last playthrough, but there we go. Let's take him out nice and easily, and we step straight over him. Zero is okay. And there's the police. I think there's no police in the first game, is there? This is the first time we see them. It's just rescue teams. But there's an official police force in this game, and it's Magnezone and his 2 Magnemites. It's another recurring character in the Magnemites, although I don't think it's ever implied they're the same Magnemites. I think they're just completely separate. And there goes Drowsy. And that isn't the last we see of Drowsy. And there we go, Azura and Lamau reunited. He's okay. Did it all for you guys. And there we go, there's our first, well, our second mission complete. We're rewarded with a large treasure bag. There's one more message that isn't in Explorers of Time and Darkness, but is in Explorers of the Sky, and it's going to be the first special episode, Bidoof's Wish. And that is what we're going to play next. We're going to play them as we go, so we're going to jump straight onto that, but we're going to do that in the next episode. We'll go through this first, though. Getting ahead of myself now. Here's our share for the job. Received a £3,000 bounty, but 90% goes to the guild. We only get 300. Outrageous. Unacceptable. But we managed to rescue Azura, and that's what's important. And here we go, there's the big development in the main story. We knew about Azura's trouble in advance because of my vision. So we have a special ability. We can see into the future. We had this dream and it became a reality. There's the stomach growling. And I know this scene, we see this scene again as a flashback later on in the game and it's fucking emotional. But there we go. The stomachs are playing up. Nice little bit of closing banter to end the mission. Stormy night. So at the end of day 3 now. I'm going to lose count after this, but just chucking it down. And we don't even have curtains. What is this bullshit? We give you 90% of our money, you can't even afford curtains. Unacceptable. You're storming that night as well. You found me out cold on the beach. Can I remember anything? There was a storm, but how did I end up unconscious there? Can't remember a thing. Let's get some sleep. Do we see our first vision of... I think we might. No, not yet. You still awake? Weird dream you have. Maybe it has something to do with you personally. Two events are connected. I'm trying to remember if that's true or not. Me having a vision of the future and being a human before. I don't think they strictly are related. I'm sure you were a good person. Thanks, man. Reminds me of what Chattel said. A great number of bad Pokemon have been caused by time going out of whack. Everyone believes that the time gears are somehow involved. So these are the first mention of the time gears, I believe. Time gears are hidden in secret places around the world. This theme is gorgeous. I think it is a track literally just called Time Gear. Absolutely beautiful. I don't know if that time gear actually exists, the one supposedly inside the volcano. I can't remember which one is where, because I think you only see one of them in a special episode, whereas you visit the locations... You definitely visit the locations of 4 of them, and I think the 5th one's in the special episode. So I don't think this time gear in the volcano actually exists. I think this scene was it designed before they decided where the 5th time gear would be, and then they changed their mind. So. Yeah, I don't think there is one inside a volcano. I think this is just Sam's well, he's been falsely told something. Time gears. Protects time and keeps time flowing properly in its region. Who's that? Shady figure. What happens if a region loses its time gear? So this, I believe, is the one in Tree Shroud Forest. I guess if a time gear is removed, the flow of time would probably stop. What's this shady figure going to do? Everyone stays away from time gears and doesn't tamper with them. Even the most hardened criminal. But what's this shady figure going to do? So I think obviously as a Pokemon fan we know this is a Growbar. This is only the first of many. And it's left unknown at this point what he does with the time gear. But there we go. So we've learned about time gears and we know there's a shady Pokemon doing something with them at this stage. But that is all we know. And that is going to be the end of episode 1. So in Ep 2 we're going to do the special episode. I might label that as a special episode in the series as well. But that's what we're going to do. And I will see you then. Thank you very much for watching and peace.